The mind can never best you. The mind can never win. Because you are the one giving energy to the mind. It can only arise again and again if you believe your mind. It seems to have all these tricks up its sleeve. The egoic mind says a lot of things. Scares you with images, scares you with feelings. But it's actually quite weak. It's actually nothing without you. It feeds on the relationship with you. And when you stop feeding it, it will go quiet. This quietness is peace. So just don't touch thought. Let them come, but don't touch. Let them arise from the stillness and let them fall back into the stillness. Like with every experience, this is the nature of thought. Even though the thought might say, "But I am you," it will still go and prove to you that it's not you. Thought has very little to do with truth. Beingness has everything to do with truth. And the mind can never work towards being better at being. It cannot grasp a being. You can only be. So it's all a big letting go. There's nothing to attain. There's nothing to get. But there's plenty to lose. Big part of this worrisome, neurotic mind will be lost. And when you're in this non-doing, peace will come to you naturally. In the beginning, it might seem like boredom or that nothing is happening. Like there is just a gap. But give this gap some time, and peace will come. There is nowhere you have to go to fix yourself. There is no external event that's going to make your life complete. Everything is right here. And this is really good news. Because if it would be out there, you had to run around a lot to find it. But now you can just stay. You can just look. And if you don't touch imagination, if you don't touch thought, then it will automatically come. This is the nature of everything. Try it. But when you leave this retreat, will you be seduced by all the things in society? Will you be seduced by your mind in going outwards? Or will you keep looking? Even though if you would come to a plateau where you start to feel all right, would you continue looking? Life is so much beauty. So joyful and peaceful. But we're blinded by our thinking and our ideas, and we miss it. And we think that it's normal to feel a bit disconnected. Every moment is here to be enjoyed. And you don't have to go anywhere. At the core of your being, there is peace. No matter what happens on the surface, or whatever you identify with, the nature of your whole being is peace. That is what catches you if you let go of thoughts. And I know that it can seem scary, but I promise you, you are held. land very softly. This is the nature of everything. It's like living in Sweden. Most of the time the sun is not out. It's a grey and cloudy sky. But behind the clouds, there's always sunshine. Even if you don't see it, there is still sun. This is the same with your nature. Even though most of the time it's cloudy, there is still always the sun. So tell me, how is it going? This is the last chance. For now. Yes.
I just want to say that I'm very grateful and I feel very much harmony and loving. I just I'm very grateful this day.
Good. So you could go on for another week.
Yes, but I also want to be outside and release good energy.
Yes, good.
So spread.
I could also go on for a week. It's getting interesting. Challenging. But I feel I'm stuck with one thing.
Yes.
A lot of things, but I can see that I like live my life from a position or an idea or of distrust and worthlessness.
Distrust.
Distrust, yes.
Yes.
It's like, yes. And sometimes I can see the clouds, the sun through the clouds, and it's like, how could that be? But then I slip back, and I'm stuck with it.
Yes, but since you're reporting it, it seems like there's some part of you that are very aware of this now.
Yes.
So just watch. Question the one who does not trust. Question the one who thinks that it's worthless. Because that one is also a thought. And if you start to see it, it will lose its grip. You have to feed it for it to stay. And this feeding is very mechanical, probably. Very automatic.
Yeah, and I do it because it's, I can see it, but it's like I can see that I keep feeding it.
Yes. So there's probably also something that makes you safe with it, that this you know. Like being with, it's nice to be with someone who's quite difficult, but you know them very well, so you come back to that. Like there's some security, this is a very common pattern with these kind of feelings. So you go there because you know it, and the unknown you don't know, so it still feels scary. But the more you're in the unknown, the more you will become in the unknown. But that's why most people go back all the time to their old bad patterns. It's because they know it. They know who they are there. They have no idea who they are in the unknown. So just try. Even though everything can feel a bit scary and not so secure there, and you don't really know who you are, perhaps, and you feel uncertain, see if you can stay. Because he says that it happens to you. And there has to be this, maybe some parts of it are really nice, and some parts of it are more not so nice. Because there has to be something that triggers you to go back. So you identify with some part of it and said, this is not safe. This zone is not safe. I have to go back to my old patterns. So see if you can stay. Watch the old patterns want to come and draw you in. And in the beginning, they can feel really like a strong magnet, that they're really, really pulling. It's really nice to go with them, even though they're terrible. And after a while, the pull will drop. They will come, and you can watch them easier. But you have to have some patience with it. It's usually like that they come very strongly in the beginning, and then they weaken. And if you ever consider yourself weak or tired, they will come stronger, and they will really try again, going into these old patterns. But use the tools that you've gotten here to question, to whom is this arising? Who has the feeling of distrust? Who is worthless? And I know that this power is within you because you come to these satsangs time after time. So I know that there is something that wants to know in you. And you don't have to be too nice to your mind with that. When you ask the question, ask it like you're using a sword. Show me, to whom? Who is worthless? Show me this one. If you say it time and time again, then show me. You can be like this with your mind. Who has distrust? Show me this one. I want to see that one. I want to see if it's an entity, if it's really a person. Don't be afraid to test your mind. It just goes in these old patterns all the time. See how it reacts when you face it head on. Can you try that?
Yes.
Good.
I'm very grateful that I came and that you have shown us everything that you have shown us. I've been doing meditation and mindfulness for a couple of years, on and off. And it's kind of embarrassing for me to realize what a beginner how far I that I'm still such a beginner, new beginner, and I have so much left to do, and it's really exciting, but still it's terrifying at the same time. I kind of like to be on the waves. It's happening a lot, and you're always there, and you feel a lot of feelings. What if I drown? What if me? What am I? What am I if I'm just in the deep?
It's a very peaceful depth. It's silent in the depth. It's not all this. The surface is still there. It's still happening, but it doesn't pull you around. It doesn't put you on a roller coaster all the time. Up and down, up and down. You see that those things are happening, but it's not happening to you. This is the difference.
But sometimes roller coasters are really fun.
Yes, but it also makes you nauseous if you go too long. They're fun in the beginning. But your whole life, you don't want to be on a roller coaster.
But it's easy to get stuck in those patterns because my mind is trying to keep
Yeah.
on to.
Yes. The mind likes the old and familiar. It doesn't like the new and fresh. And that becomes the contradiction, because this present moment is always new and fresh. So the mind is not really, you can just understand that the mind's capacity is not really working with that. It doesn't allow the moment to be fresh. It just says, it's going to be like this. It's going to be like this because that's an experience that I had earlier. I want to see that again. And then you're looking for that. The mind is looking for that. And it limits the now completely. And it makes you suffer a lot. It's actually really simple. It's just allowing the now to be as it is. And it's very difficult. I just want to say with this said that you realize that you're such a beginner. This is also a very dangerous term. That you're an advanced practitioner or a beginner practitioner. Because I see also so much fluidity in people. People who say that, yeah, I'm just starting this, I'm trying a little bit, and then they just realize things very, very quickly. So, and this idea that you're a beginner can just also put you down a little bit, to say that I don't have such an easy time understanding this, or blah, blah, blah. I just want you to look out for that, so you don't create a box with the beginner idea. And it's the same if you practice for a long time and you start to feel like I'm a very advanced practitioner. It's also a very dangerous box to be in. You just allow the practice to be. You don't have to put yourself on a scale on how good you're at it. Thank you for sharing. Someone else?
Jag tror aldrig jag har haft så mycket trängsel i huvudet som de här dagarna. Så att jag vet inte riktigt vad jag har uppnått. Men en fråga, de här bilderna som du ger, det här med liksom det 10 000 meters djupa havet och sen nu det här bakom månen finns solen. Det kan jag identifiera mig med, liksom, eller det är bilder som jag förstår. Men är det sinnets bilder fortfarande? Eller?
It's just a way to explain.
Yeah.
It's to understand it and to get some kind of, and if you're thinking in images, it becomes much easier to understand it in this way. But the understanding is still intellectual. It has to be practiced. So the images that I present you with is just a support to understand it and to feel comfortable, because it has to feel comfortable and logical to you. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to practice it. That requires a lot of faith. If you don't have any explanation and you just have a teacher who says, just watch your mind, then you have to have complete faith in that teacher from the start, and that is very uncommon. So if you started with, this makes sense to me, it fits logical, I'm all right with this, then it's easier to practice it. And it's not very strange that your mind bothers you a lot here. You're very alert watching it, and if you're not so used to that in your everyday life, then it just becomes much more clear here what is going on. And also that just the subjects that we touch can also trigger emotions, and it can trigger thoughts. And it can feel like things that might have been suppressed or coming up, and it feels a bit shaky. That's also quite normal. I think that more people are also having these experiences. Yes. Yes. Some people raise their hands.
Jag känner inte att det skrämmer mig, men ändå liksom överbefolkat.
Yes, it can be like a disturbance more than scary. I use the words fear and scare sometimes, but you have to understand that it can be the underlying thing, but you're so used to this fear or this scare that you don't really consider it to be. You think of a fear or a scare like something that really grabs you in the moment. But the worst fears are these that you're just a little bit afraid all the time of not getting someone's approval or something like that. Maybe you wouldn't say that is a fear, but that is a fear of not being loved, for example. And then you hunt that all the time. Those kind of fears, you suffer a lot, even though they're not fears like, ha! Will you try to practice every day?
No.
Will you try to practice every day, as we talked about yesterday? See what happens? And if you just feel like you practice at home and you just want to report, or then please write me. Just tell me what's happening, what's going on. It's fine.
This weekend has been very good. I'm feeling much more harmonic now. At my work we had conflict, really infected conflict, and people are starting to line up in different camps, and they want me to choose side.
Mm-hmm.
And this creates a lot of guilt feelings.
Yeah.
Whichever choice you make.
Mm.
And it has been bothering me.
Mm.
But meditation helps.
Because also things in your life can seem very big in the moment.
Mm.
This conflict, it consumes so much energy and takes so much mental space. But later on in your life, if someone would ask you about that happened, I remember. It's never that important. But we put so much emphasis on this, and we suffer them so much because of it. But if you start to realize that everything just comes, stays for a while and goes, then it becomes also much easier. Because many people have the feeling, but in whatever happens, that you're somehow stuck in this now. And that is a continuous thing. But it's not like that. It's always changing, always moving. And if you approach even these tough situations, if you are peaceful, it will be much easier. They will not bother you so much. If there is not so much identification in it, and if there is peace, then you can touch on the surface, and then good, done. Good, thank you. And did you have anything else you want to say? No?
I still find myself looking for distractions, like in the external world, and that's what I also like see in myself, like relationships and how I kind of like are with other people, that I try to kind of grab to their problems instead of like looking to like for myself, or then I don't really have to be with myself all the time.
Mm.
Then I can't like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And kind of like make me exhausted, but still it's really a strategy that I'm using, and I don't really know to.
Yeah, a strategy of avoidance.
Yeah.
And you don't know what to do with it. I think it's very clear what to do. Just to change the perspective from going out to going in. If you say that you're avoiding yourself, then it's very obvious. I know it's going to be tough to start look then, because you had probably these patterns for a long time, trying to avoid whatever is in here. And if you do, maybe there will be a lot of tears, and there will be a lot of, you will be scared, but you have so much to gain from doing that. And if you still feel like helping people, you will help them much nicer, in a much nicer way, much more peaceful way. Because now when you're helping, you always have an agenda. You want to get away from how you're feeling. So yeah, and you have something else? Please tell me more. So really look. When you have this feeling that you have to go out and you have to fix someone else, then take that time to sit, look. Stay with it. It will change everything. And this restlessness will also go. Of all the time having to avoid. It's so much work. And you can just sit and be peaceful. It's much nicer. Good. Thank you for sharing. Someone else?
that it's very common. Is that real? Or is that just
Is that what?
real? Is that, or is that just something that the minds make up?
I think that to the person that feels completely burnt out, it feels very, very real. But if we're talking from beingness, it's absolutely not real, because the things that create stress are all ideas in time, and that is not something that has to do with reality.
The mind is so strong it could actually affect your body.
Absolutely, absolutely, it can kill the body. So that's why I also say that you can go hard at your mind sometimes, but you also have to be careful with your mind. Because if you go too hard at it and there is, it can become suicidal. So you have to be careful with it. But what the mind says about the world and where you are, it's not real. It cannot say things that are real. It can make pointers towards things that are real, but it's not really. The mind doesn't have that capacity. But whatever you believe will be your life. So that's why there are so many of these self-help things. Use your mind to law of attraction, get what you want. Because you can tap into some parts of that, which is, it will manifest whatever you believe in. But it's better to look at the mind and understand that it doesn't have the capacity to describe you. And then you will be free of it. And people ask me sometimes, what should we do with this epidemic of people being burned out or depressed and things like this? And I said, maybe it's really, really good. Everyone has to turn inwards. And now most of society knows about mindfulness and meditation and this. 20 years ago it was not so positive. When you said that you were practicing it a lot, you were just really strange. But now everyone knows it's really good. It's just much nicer in that sense. And there are big benefits for people in these situations to practice. But please don't preach. If you feel that you've gotten something nice here, please don't preach it to people. Please don't go around and tell your relatives that you really have to do this. It would be so good for you. Be the peace instead and let people come to you. You don't have to be missionaries. You have seen what the religions have done with missionaries. It's terrible. So don't be missionaries. Just stay. Watch, look. Stay with this peace. And people will come and they will say, what happened to you? You stopped being agitated. You stopped being stressed out. You look so peaceful. What do you do? And then answer them. I do this and this, I look. There's not much to do, it's just looking.
The only person I want to do that on is my kids. Because you always want to teach them everything.
Yes.
And it's hard to not force anything on them.
Yes, but also if they see that you meditate and that you seem peaceful, they will also come. Or if they're not interested, then they're not interested. Also to accept that.
Or to be compete with YouTube.
Yes. But also the children that are growing up with so much impressions, they will also come to get some problems from it. So it will also have the turning point where it has to change. And I think that things like going on retreats and take away your computer, your iPad and your cell phone will be very popular in the future. They will just call it like information detoxing or something. People can just go and not just have their electronic stuff, even if they wouldn't meditate. Someone else likes to share?
I was out walking this morning and my mind came up with, I think it was a fantasy, I don't even remember, but I started laughing a lot because it was just so crazy. And I think before I've been fighting a lot with my thoughts, like
Yes.
defending myself. You shouldn't think about that. That's not true about me. And so the thoughts are fighting with themselves.
Yeah. Yes. You don't have to. You don't have to tell the truth to your thoughts. That won't work. It's like this and this. I am beingness. You're not. So the thoughts can fight, but if you're not interested in picking the fight with them, then it will not continue. Someone who wants to fight has to have someone to fight with. There has to be duality. If your mind is not dual, there is no fight. And a not very agitated mind can also be very, very playful and just create funny thoughts. This is also when the mind is peaceful, it can have this. And if you don't identify too much with them, then that can just play. That's one part of what's happening in mind also. It's nothing that you have to get rid of or something like that. I just want to be clear.
Yes, said yesterday the mind isn't an enemy or something like that, but still we should chop off its head. I'm struggling a little bit because I feel like we have the mind. It's something we are born with.
Yes.
Like a hand or a foot or something.
Yes.
I still think it's something we use right now.
Yes.
When we speak, reflect.
Yes. I'm sorry if I've been unclear with this, because I use the word mind sometimes and I refer to the egoic mind. But there is also the part of the mind which is just I call it practical mind. Which just how you use your mind to do things. If you're at work or if you do mathematics or if you do something like that, then you use those capacities. And this practical mind doesn't really create any problems. If you have the thought, I'm going to make a cup of tea, it's not saying anything about your identity, or if you're not really have a strange relationship to tea or a very strong relationship to tea. But it doesn't say much about that. It's just a practical thought.
It's also reflective. I mean, practical is one thing, to plan to make.
Yes.
And hearing you speak, I will use my mind to take it in also and reflect.
Yes, yes. And it will seem...
There's also a practical part of the mind.
Yes, yes. Absolutely. And this part is also, and if the egoic mind is strong, there might be some identification with it. You compare it to something other. Is this good? Is this bad? How does it relate to me? All these kind of things can happen. And that's also fine. So that's why I say don't be too harsh with it like that. Because your old patterns will be there. But watch everything and see what it does. If it creates a lot of conflict in you, if you suffer it, then there is identification. So you don't have to like intellectually discern so much. You can just, if you just look, like the watching that we talk about, you will see the things that are that can go and the things that will stay. So it's quite easy. On the practical level, it's very easy, but for the mind, it can be all these contradictions. Oh, you say that it's not enemy, but they cut off it's just taking two parts that are not really related and making them into a contradiction, or because in practice, at one point you have to maybe be really nice with your egoic mind, and at another point you will chop, or someone else will chop. And all these things can be there. And to one person I can say, you have to be nicer to your mind. And to another person I can say, you have to be harsher with your mind. Because that's what I sense from them. There has to be this kind of flexibility. And it's very different for different people.
In relation to that, I feel like sometimes, I guess it comes from my mind, but I feel like I have the need to digest and reflect over things quite a lot. And then I don't know where it goes over to, where it gets too much analyzed. Because if I understand it correct, some reflection is good to understand. Like,
yes. And you can be with things intellectually for a while, but you will also feel that there is a point that you cannot go any further. You will start to feel the mind's limitation, and this is a really good thing to start to sense. That I don't understand beyond this point. I don't have experiential understanding beyond this point. I can have some speculations beyond this point, but I don't really understand it. This kind of things are very helpful to know exactly where your understanding stops. Because then you can stay there. But it requires that you're very truthful, because it's very easy to go with the thoughts and think that since I know it intellectually, I know it, sort of. I hear sometimes people can be dismissive, like, yes, but I already know that. But it's just intellectual knowledge. You can see that it's not rooted in them. There is no understanding of it.
So just be very alert and aware maybe when I do the reflection.
Yes, just notice if there is identification, and also notice what it leads to. Does it make you suffer somehow? This is a very good indicator for that the egoic mind is there. Oh, I'm having so much troubles with this. Understanding this teacher. Yeah, but some people really suffer when they digest teachings, because they identify so much. Oh no, I've gotten everything wrong. The last 4 years have been a total waste, or something like that. And they will suffer that a lot. I also want to ask, did I answer your question? Yes, good. You felt like you got an answer. Good.
sitter fast i ett dilemma. Och du pratade första kvällen någonting om, det var någon här som frågade om sorg. Men jag fick inte riktigt fatt i det. Svårt att prata om det utan att bli sorgsen. Men det är okej.
Det går.
Det är okej för mig. Men jag har också förlorat flera sista åren. Flera nära vänner och familj. Så. Men jag förstår mig inte på sorgen. Jag vet inte vad det är för någonting. Är det någonting att liksom känna på sätt och vis, alltså sorgen liksom håller ju i minnet av dessa personer. Men det håller ju också fast någonting liksom som jag sa innan att jag kanske inte var rädd för någonting, men det stämmer inte. Jag är nog rädd för en sak, det är att förlora dem. Jag tänker om jag släpper sorgen, då förlorar jag. Ja. Som jag sa till någon där innan, det blir liksom som en dubbel förlust. Liksom dels förlora dem, dels förlora att de bara liksom försvinner helt.
Yes. And this is when I talk about identification with, I talked about identification with sorrow the other night. That you identify with it somehow. This is what I mean. That you feel like there is something that would be lost if you would let go of this sorrow, or you would let go of this. But you have to let go of them.
Men vad händer då?
You can still love them, but the stickiness of the sorrow that stays with you, and that just stays and stays and stays, the burden of this will be lifted.
Men hur vet jag att de inte försvinner? Liksom?
They're already gone. Just let them be. I know that this part is scary. But all those people, they would also like you to be free from it. They don't want you to suffer this sorrow.
Men betyder det om de försvinner, betyder det att jag inte kan fortsätta mina samtal med dem? För det skulle jag verkligen sakna.
Let them go and see what happens. Because I think that they would like you to be at peace. But you cannot keep them. Or you can keep them, but you will suffer this sorrow.
Det är svårt att veta vad det är liksom. Vad är sorg? Vad är det för någonting? Är det bara ett klister?
The sorrow is very natural. If you lose something, then you feel this sense of loss, and then you cry. But the stickiness of it, if it stays for a long time, it just goes on and on and on. That means that there is a strong identification with the sorrow, and you're trying to hold on to people that have left their body and are gone. They're still with you somehow. You won't lose them like that, but you don't have to, you understand, this identification and this grasping them, it doesn't have to be there. The love for them will remain.
Vad är det för tugga på?
Det är som att man får skuldkänslor om man slutar tänka på den
Yes.
känslan i början.
Like you're losing them somehow, but you're trying to hold on to something that is not really possible to hold on to. It just creates a longer sorrow, just weighs you down. When I was in my early 20s, I was at a music festival, Rishikesh music festival, and at this festival there was a concert, and it was a big news, I think, in all of the world. 14 people died in a Pearl Jam concert, American rock band. It was mud, and people were just pushing from the back, and 14 people were just drawn down, and they and died. Like, terrible. And the people who were standing there could not do anything. They just saw these people, and they were crushed and drowned in the mud. Terrible. And on this big stage after, there was only 2 artists who wanted to play. All the big bands didn't want to play, but 2 artists wanted to play, and it was Yusianur and Femi Kuti, 2 African artists. And I went to the Femi Kuti concert. He's from Nigeria, and he said, in Nigeria, people die every day. I know people that die every day. So we cannot go around holding our head low all the time. So we celebrate that they lived. And they just played music, danced, and I was crying and dancing, and it was the most beautiful celebration of people who have died that I have seen. Such a beautiful manifestation, such a beautiful way of doing it. So you can also do that. You can celebrate them, celebrate their lives. Let there be joy. Listen to a song that they liked and dance.
And that's not identification.
If there is of course there can be. You can, if the only thing you want to do is grieve that and listen to that song, then everything can be done with identification. But if you can also let them go in that. Let them go in that joy. Feel the love for them instead of focusing on the loss of them. soon as things start to be this repetitive pattern, and we suffer that repetitive pattern, that is egoic mind. It doesn't have to go on, it doesn't have to be assured, it doesn't have to be work. If we were just more natural with our experience, it would be easier. It would not be so heavy. And of course it can be heavy at moments, but it doesn't have to be heavy and heavy and heavy and heavy. And you can also notice it by if it feels like you're carrying it around. If it comes and it expresses and then it goes, then fine. But if you feel like you're all the time carrying this guilt, or if I don't grieve or hold my head low, I'm not really missing this person, or whatever it is, that is carrying it, making it heavy. Be aware of that.
Jag tänker på både trauman och sorg, så pratar man om olika steg i bearbetning och så. Kan man egentligen skippa dem då?
There seem to be emotions that are connected somehow, and that there are very common expressions of them. But I don't think that it's for sure that all of them have to happen to everyone. Depends on how you take things. Or some emotional periods can be extremely short for one person, I think. But it's so easy to create this, yes, and first you go through this stage, and then you go through this stage, and then you have to go through all that because you believe it. The mind is very strong like this. The same example as someone said, is I need 10 more years of meditation before anything really will happen. Then it will take 10 more years. And the mind is very, very powerful when you believe in it. And maybe you heard from someone or parents or studies that have said that for most people, when they grieve, it's like this and this many months of this period and this. But it's not sure. Then no one is allowed to be different, and everyone is different. And then you're wrong if your period is too short. Then you're wrong, and there's guilt. And yeah, but I feel fine with it. I love my lost grandmother or whatever. Watch the mind. See how it builds different things. See how it creates patterns. And be skeptical to all kind of heaviness or repetitiveness, because that is just identification. And allow life to flow.
we really still, I think, grasp it properly. I know we have mentioned taking this whole week long, but exactly that. I'm not. Yeah. Can you put something? Can you say something more about it?
I feel like this is what I mainly talk about. What identification is. Identification is, if you want to put it briefly, how you, when you think a thought, says something about you. That it points to something that you consider real. Usually just pointing to the construct, the egoic mind. This is identification. And identification is what we suffer, because it's not real. It doesn't have any truth in it. It's just another idea. I am this is happening to me, I feel lonely because of this and this, I feel a victim because of this and this. This is identification. So everything that we do here is pointing towards how to break those patterns. And when you stay as the observer of the mind, you are out of identification. In the beginning there is a lot of mix, but you will come in these pockets where you really feel like there's only observing. And this is what is called meditation. And then all the confusion from that comes. Because then you want to get back to the meditation because it's so nice. This meditative state, I want to feel it again. And then the mind grabs hold of that. And then it feels like it's lost. Do you need more clarified? No, that's good. Yeah, it's just a very compact, short version.
We've been talking a lot about it at different angles, and I'd like to summary.
It's good. It's fine. It's fine. Thank you. Someone else wants to share something?
So this morning has been really great for me with my stillness. I question, if I got a thought, I question it, and I didn't have that many thoughts. But now when we talked about trauma, it just was like one image that set my mind like a ping pong table. Like I feel so much energy now, restless.
Yes.
So it's like
Yes. And this is very common, especially if you feel peaceful. Then at some point it will, all things will have the space to come up. It's like you, in your everyday mind, there's a lot of clutter. There's a lot of things on the surface. So things cannot really come up because it's so full. There's so little space. There are no gaps. And so, suddenly here, you start to create gaps. And that gap makes the things that are underneath, the things that are suppressed, all the traumas, old things, old sorrow, whatever it is, to come up to the surface. And this is a great thing, because that, when it comes to the surface, that is your possibility to look. When it's under the surface, very difficult. It's very subtle then. It's still in your body and your system somehow, but it's really subtle. And when it comes to the surface, it just becomes, as you said, a vivid image, and the thoughts start to go like ping pong. So just watch all this. And there is no difference if there's a lot happening or if there's very little happening. You just watch. Just allow it to be. You don't have to draw any big conclusions. Oh, now I'm really releasing this trauma, or blah, 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 this kind of talk. Just let go of that. Just watch it as it is. You can do that?
Yeah, it's gone. It was just for an
Okay.
moment.
Okay, it just came from a moment. And probably, if there is a lot of stillness, it will come back again.
Okay.
But usually not as vivid, and it will be weaker and weaker.
Okay.
The less energy you put into it, the weaker it will get. Don't try to push it away or do anything with it. Just look. But don't touch it.
I just lost my stillness.
It cannot really be lost.
No.
I thought that we could sing something together. Would you like that? It's a very simple song. I saw some people looking a bit scared. You will be fine. If you don't feel like singing, don't sing. If you feel like singing, please sing. We're going to sing a very simple Indian mantra. It's about Sita and Rama, and they're a symbol for the construction of the universe. The things that one of them represents what is moving, and one of them represents the stillness. And this is the whole thing. You are the stillness, and within the stillness everything is moving, and in the bigger sense you're also that movement. So together Sita and Rama represent these two aspects. So just join in whenever you feel like. We will sing for a while. Sitaram, Jai Jai Ram, 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 Sitaram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 I would like to thank everyone who has made this retreat possible. I'd like to thank Maria for helping me.
Thank you so much for letting me.
And all the volunteers. Thank you so much. And I would like to thank also Åsa, who has provided this space for us, make this possible. Hopefully she comes for the meal later. I don't know. Maybe she will. And also Shmel, that has made the food for us. Maybe you've seen this man coming with food. He and his family will join us for the last meal, this lunch. They will all come. So, yeah, made this excellent, nutritious food for us. Very grateful for this. And I'm so grateful for all of you. Bring your honesty and your questions and your courage to speak in front of a lot of people that you don't know.
And your recording.
Yes. And I would like to thank Guruji, Swami Shashwat, my beloved Guru. Love him so much. And all the other teachers that I met on my path. So many beautiful beings that have helped me at different stages. So blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to be here for a while longer, as you know, and you know that they started cleaning the rooms, so we have to stay here somewhere, or you can of course walk in the forest if you want to. I just want to say that now when this session ends, you can speak to each other, but also respect if there are people who want to just, some like to stay in the silence, and just respect them and maybe try to keep our voices. We can talk, but not too shouty. Okay? Good. And I will be here, so if you also still want to ask something, if something pops up, I will still be here for this whole time until the meal at 1 or 1. Good,
And
good.
we all meet at 2:30. We say goodbye.
Yes, and I would also like to take this opportunity, if it's possible, if you would like to be in a photo with me, we could all gather in some way, and we could. Oh, who's going to take the photo? Maybe we should wait for Smell or someone. Maybe we can do it later.
Cleaning person come?
Yes.
Maybe she can help.
Yes, we can ask her. Because I just feel like everyone is gathered now, it would be a good opportunity. Someone has to throw themselves on the pile of people. No, I want you in it.
Jag vill inte vara med på bild. Så ta bild.
Okay. Then that's a good solution. If you don't want to be in the picture, then, and if you would take it, would be lovely. Thank you. Okay. Should we do it right now?